we have a real responsibility to be people that bring hope into the lives of other people. But also, I think we have a challenge as well to make sure that we have people around us that we're listening to that bring hope to us as well. And if there are people that are a little bit harder work, then maybe creating a little bit of distance between them too. I think we're just sorting out the noises. There we go. Is that better? Yeah. You're fine. Yeah, that's a great question. So I think there's a few things. I mentioned that we are people that carry hope. So I think we can be people that really intentionally bring hope into the lives of our friends who are sick and who are struggling. I met a girl a couple of weeks ago, and I think she might have been like 20. She's quite young, and she had the bottom of her leg amputated, so cut off, because it had cancer in it. And when I met her that week, they discovered that there's a chance that she's got cancer again, and if she has cancer this time round, then she won't survive it. And there was such a privilege for me and another person to be able to stand and speak to her. And we prayed for her because we were both Christians, and prayed that God would heal her and make her better. But I think being people who listen to people who aren't well, who genuinely love them and care for them, give them space to like really not be okay with us, and process some of that pain. But also I said that I believe hope is a person. So I believe that God brings hope. And so I think praying for people who are sick, praying that God will be with them and give them peace, and helping them to know that God wants to be with them and loves them as well. I think they can be really important things. But I think in those moments, it's really important for the words that we use, like you said before, Vicky, and all of those sort of things, for us to be people that bring hope into those situations. Absolute pleasure. See you later.
Hello. Hi, can you hear me? Okay. How are you? LB. I'm happy to be here. I am LB Ann. I am the author of over 30 diverse chapter books for children 6 through 17 years old. So and I'm a full-time author. And you want to know more about me? Like I play bass guitar. I'm I love fitness. I love to eat. I'm a foodie. I love to eat all kinds of foods. And I have 5 grandchildren. 5. Thank you. I'm over 50. Um, I was a bit of a loner, so I wouldn't have minded being at home at first because I didn't have a lot of friends and we didn't live in our school district, so we lived far away from everyone else. But I think as time went on, I would have missed the interaction with other students. I think it would have been hard. No. My mom was great, but no, she had a lot of rules. So yeah, I would have preferred to be at school. Um, I was a dancer. Not well, hip hop dancing. I could really dance. So I would probably would have made up dance routines. I was really good with art. So I would have been drawing a lot, uh, writing. I was writing back then too. Um, yeah, and fussing with my brother all the time. Yes. Uh, I think I've always, a writer has always been inside of me, but I didn't know. Let's see, I believe in 6th grade, I started reading a book a day. And I think most writers are heavy readers like I am. And I think I wrote my first book in college. And then I wrote my next full novel, and I didn't publish it or anything. I wrote my next full novel probably 20 years ago, and I didn't do anything with it. And then I used to own a gym, so I wrote fitness articles for magazines, but still I hadn't published a book. And then about 7 years ago, I read a science fiction book series that just ignited something. And I just had to write. And that's how it started. That's how I started publishing. The first one that I published, I think I wrote it in 2 weeks. It may have taken a month, but I think it was like 2 weeks. I was just when I really have a concept of what I want to write, it's pretty fast. I published independently. I didn't go through a publishing company, so there were no rejections. Oh, oh my goodness. Okay, so growing up, I was a bit of an outcast because I was new to the area. So my family lived in New York, and then we moved to Michigan, and I was so different from everyone else that I wasn't treated well. So I felt rejected all the time. What helped a lot was my having a really supportive mom. Uh, could talk to her about anything. She's still my biggest cheerleader. That helped a lot. And because of the way I was treated, if I saw either the new kid or any kid like in the lunchroom, in the cafeteria, sitting alone, that's the kid I would go and sit with. I always tried to help that kid not feel like they made me feel. So I think that helps too, helping others. Oh, I get this question all the time, and you won't believe this, but my husband, I don't remember what he was talking about, but he said, "What if someone saw an angel?" And I kind of looked to the side and I thought, that would make a good book. And I ran away from him. I ran to my computer and I started typing, and it just all came together. It just, I just started typing. But the places, the school, those are actual places that the school I went to, where I lived. Yeah. Oh, there's so many books. I have to I have to think back. So no. That the oops, I see that. Let me fix that. Okay. So you're talking about when after he passed away and the angel imparted something to Sheena. No, that wasn't him. That was an angel just like passing on his gift to her. Yeah. Okay. Books, I have to. It's different for every book series. My Lola and Winkle series is based on my youth growing up with my brother in New York, and we were just when my mom wasn't home, all the things we did are in those books. So now she knows everything. um, each series is it's different. I just someone asked me that recently, and my mind, I have an overactive imagination, so I'm always thinking of things. But I'm not afraid to try whatever I'm thinking about. I'll give it a try and see if it works. You're welcome. That's it. Okay. Hi. What's your name? It's nice to meet you. Have you read the whole series? Okay. Thank you. Thank you. And the Sheena Meyer series, there's about to be a high school spinoff, Sheena Meyer in high school. So thank you for reading them. You're welcome. All right. If you ever need me, let me know.
Hello. Hi, Roshni. I'm well, thank you. How are you? Okay so far. It's only Monday, so it's still got the energy from the weekend. So, but really good to be with you on a Monday night. Oh wow. Well, I have a great job. So I'm a pastor in the Methodist Church. I also work at a Bible college, and so I get to actually, well, before COVID, I got to travel the world to talk to people about God, about the Christian faith. So I got to go to all sorts of places, and that was really, really good, sort of meeting people where they were at. And then in my day-to-day job now, I get to talk to lots of students from all different walks of life who come to our college. I get to talk to lots of people online, like yourself as well. So I get to kind of sit in my little office here and speak to people around the world, which I just love doing. So that's probably the best thing: meeting new people, having those new experiences, and just exploring the amazing gift that the world is. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so we've got two children. So we've got Caris, who is 9 years old, little girl nine, and Micah is five, a little boy called Micah. So they've clearly had like a really quite a disruptive last 2 years, as I'm sure you guys have had as well. We moved house in the middle of COVID as well. So for them, that's been kind of a really big experience. Um, and we've clearly had to kind of keep encouraging them to have hope. They've kind of lost the friends where we used to live. They've moved to a new place. And so the kind of challenge of having hope has been there for them. I think the thing that we say, and I think it's so important, is hope is like a muscle. And it's like something that, like with muscles, we have to exercise them in order for them to grow. And if we don't exercise them, then they kind of just wither away and die. But if we exercise them, they get stronger. And hope, I think, is just like that. And so for my children, for you guys, for anyone, it's about starting off with small hopes that we can have hope for something, that when we see that hope come to pass, it gives us the boost to then hope for something more the next time. And that sort of builds, if you like, our hope muscle inside of us. Um, and I think that's, for me, the thing that has carried us through COVID. I think in COVID, we've experienced the way in which life has been turned upside down, and we've all been kind of stuck in our homes, and we've had to get out of the kind of familiar routines. So maybe we've all been forced to focus in on like little things and tiny things. And I guess I think that if we can kind of use those as opportunities to build the muscle of hope, that's how we can kind of grow in hope. Yeah. That's a really good question. So I think that we all experience hope in slightly different ways. All of our hopes and dreams will be different. We are individual, unique, wonderful people. And so the way in which I experience hope will be slightly different from the way in which you experience hope. Having said that, um, positive psychology, which is a kind of an arena of study, what it says is that hope is a positive motivational state. It means that it's a state that we can be in where we're positive about the future, and we're motivated for that future. And so I think the thing that ties together all our experiences of hope is a sense of positivity towards the future, that there is something in front of us that we want to get to, and that we are confident that we will be able to get to it. And that I think is what ties it together. But of course, my hope will be different from your hope, will be different from somebody else's hope. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think, sometimes we can just be like hopeful that it's not going to rain tomorrow, and that's kind of, if you like, that's a bit more like optimism. I'm like, I look at the weather forecast and it looks like, well, there's a 20% chance of rain, so I'm going to be hopeful that it doesn't rain because I really like to go outside. So that's kind of a kind of optimistic kind of hope. And then I think, if you like, at the other end of the scale is like a really deep hope, which might be like a life hope that you have, that, I hope that I will make something of my life. I hope that, that I will do something good in my life that will have a positive impact on the people around me. And that's kind of, if you like, a really deep hope, which is, quite different than the hope that it's not going to rain tomorrow, but it's kind of on the same kind of continuum, if you like. So I think that I think hope is deeply part of our life as human beings. And I think as human beings, we can't separate out our heads from our hearts. And actually, even we can't separate our heads and our hearts from our bodies either. We are whole people, and we don't just walk around like with our kind of brains in a jam jar or our hearts in a jam jar. We are whole people, and so I think hope is a really deep kind of, it is an emotion, it's something that we feel, but it's something that integrates us all together. So it impacts what we're thinking, it affects how we're feeling deep in our hearts, but it also impacts our bodies. Often we can tell by how we sit and how we stand and how we walk whether or not we're feeling hopeful or not. So I think we feel hope deep in our beings, right down in our bones, if you like. And I think that's partly because of how we are as human beings, how we're created, that kind of everything is in everything we do. And so, and sometimes the way in for hope for one person might be through a hopeful thought. For some people, the way into hope might be through, a good experience that kind of develops a nice happy feeling, which helps someone have hope. And for other people, the beginning of hope might be getting out for some exercise in the fresh air, and that kind of physical kind of different circumstance can produce hope. And so I think the way into hope for each of us might be slightly different, but it's all integrated. Well, I would say that it's possible for everybody to have hope, whether or not they have a belief in God. I think that when we think about the hopes that we have, if hope is about knowing that we've got a good goal and we've got the way to achieve that goal, then everyone can have those kind of hopes. I think I would want to say, and you might expect me to say as a pastor in the church, that actually having God really impacts our ability to have hope as well, because obviously we've got limited resources in our lives, so what we can hope for is limited by what our resources can do. And one of the things that belief in God does is remind us that we can believe in something that is limitless. God is limitless, and so therefore we can hope for bigger things because God is limitless, whereas we're limited. So I think that it's not essential to have God in order to hope, but having God when we hope means that we can hope for something which is even bigger than is possible otherwise. Wow, another good question. I mean, I think that we all have different dispositions. That's kind of, if you like, the way we kind of our stance in the world. And I think that, our personalities and our characters have an impact. And I think some people maybe are naturally just that bit more optimistic about life and find it easier to cling on to the things which are good and the things which are true and the things which are beautiful. But I think that however we might kind of find ourselves, our kind of, as it were, natural stance, how we just kind of generally approach things, because hope is a muscle, all of us are able to kind of work on that. It's the same, like, some people seem to find it really easy to go to the gym and work out. I am not one of those people. But actually I can do it if I make myself do it, and I kind of like build up to it, and I kind of do something every day. And I think it's the same with hope. So some people, it might just come more naturally to them, but actually that doesn't mean that we all can't do something that helps us to have hope. Absolutely, yeah. And that kind of positive, that's why I was saying, the way into hope for different people might be different. For some people it might be the hopeful thought, or the hopeful kind of, a suggestion that someone gives you that gives you hope. Or for some people it might be the physical activity. These are some of the catalysts that can kind of start that chain reaction off in you, that helps you think, yeah, actually there's something worth fighting for here, and actually the resources are here for me to fight for that, and to work for that, and to achieve that. Yeah, so I think that the kind of wishing and wanting is an interesting one, because of course, on the one hand, if we do kind of wish for things and they come true, then it can build our hope. We can be like, oh yes, actually that happened. But I think we have to be really careful as well, because obviously I think wishful thinking is not the same as hope. Wishful thinking, I could wish that I could fly, and I know that isn't going to happen without going in an airplane. But I could hope that I can do something, and that's a slightly different thing. So I think with wishful thinking, we have to be. It reminds us that we have to think about, is the thing that we're hoping for something that's good? Is it something that's appropriate to hope for? If I hope that I'm going to be the best and everybody else around me is going to be the worst, then that's not really a very appropriate thing to hope for, because it's kind of, dismissing everybody else in order to big up myself. If I hope, though, that I and my family and the people around me could all flourish, that's a really good hope. And it's something that it's worth hoping for that, because actually that's something that isn't going to dismiss other people, but it's going to help other people to flourish as well. So I think that as we kind of train ourselves to select appropriate things to hope for things that are good, for things that are going to benefit us and other people, that's where that kind of wishful wanting, that kind of desire, can be used in us to kind of inspire us to work towards that which we hope for. Yeah. I mean, that's an interesting one. I mean, clearly there's a lot of hope there, and we've all been there. I've done that as well. I remember those days. I'm now one of those people who sets exams for other people. So I know all my students want to hope that what they've revised comes up on my tests. But I guess the kind of way beyond tests, it's actually the kind of the more meaningful things to hope for are that we make something of our lives that is going to benefit other people around us, that we make a positive impact in the world, that we flourish and that others flourish. And yeah, I mean, in terms of exams and what we think about exams, I guess we can hope that we give a good account of ourselves in the exam, that actually we are able to express ourselves as we kind of put pens to paper or fingers to keyboards in a way that shows what we do know, even if it's not quite the same as what we'd revised, but we're able still to find ways of expressing ourselves that kind of show how we've grown in knowledge and grown in understanding. Yeah. I mean, hopefully you've kind of heard from me that I'm quite a kind of practical person, and I think that hope is no good if it's just wishful thinking. If it's just kind of up in our heads, then it's not really hope. It is just wishful thinking. So hope, I think, should always be embodied. Sometimes we hope by waiting. Waiting is actually a practical action. Sometimes, like, waiting for something, it is actually the kind of positive action that we can take. but beyond waiting, working for something is also a form of hope. So, if you hope that there's flourishing in the world around you, then we take action by working to see that come to pass, by the smiles that we give others, by the conversation that we might start, by the choices that we make. And so I think that hope always needs to be embodied, because, as I said before, it's the integration of our heads and our hearts and our bodies. It's everything together. So I think it's always time to embody hope. We can always do it. Yeah, and if I might just add to that, because I learned this, someone taught me this. Someone once said about faith that if you don't have faith, talk about it until you have it. And I wonder whether it's the same thing with hope, that actually, if you really don't feel hopeful in this precise moment, then think of some hopeful actions that you can do. What's a hopeful action? It might be planting a seed in the garden. It might be, smiling at someone who you think won't smile back. Think of some hopeful actions and do those. And maybe by doing the hopeful actions, then you'll start to feel hope. So kind of start that catalyst. Sorry, I interrupted you, but I just felt that was, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think deep down, one of the connections is that all of these are some of the deepest things that we can feel and experience as human beings. So whether it's hope, whether it's faith, whether it's trust, they're right at the heart of our existence. I think, hope is that forward-looking thing. Hope looks at the future and kind of has an idea about, well, where are we going within that? Faith is something which is very much kind of rooted in the present. Faith is that in this very moment in time, I am known, I am loved, I am held, I am a person of worth, I am unique. Faith is that. And trust looks backwards. Trust looks back and says, yeah, all of these things have happened, but I trust that none of that is wasted, that somehow it's all going to kind of get incorporated into my life. And so I wonder whether one of the connections there is it helps us to kind of navigate the past, the present, and the future, to have sort of trust that where we've been is not wasted, that where we are now, we have faith that we're in the right place in order that we can have hope for what the next steps will look like. Yeah. Yeah, that's a really tough one, and certainly, in my work as a pastor, that's an experience that I've had often, sitting with people, walking with people who've lost loved ones, sometimes multiple people within their families. I think one of the things which is really important in that is to encourage others, those who've lost loved ones, to be able to sort of latch on to kind of hold on to those, if you like, the fond memories that they have of the person that they've loved. Not just for kind of as a keepsake, as a memento, but in terms of what impact has that person had on your life, and what will continue in your life because you knew that person and because of the impact that they had on you. And I think that's the beginnings of hope. Because at the end of the day, the kind of, in the human family that we're all part of, there's always these chain reactions between us that, we're having this conversation tonight and you've had an impact on me and I've had an impact on you, and we've heard from other people. And it's the same kind of thing, that when someone passes on, yes, it's appropriate to pause and to mourn and to grieve and to be sad, but it's also appropriate to think, so what impact is there here that I can pick up and take forward, that actually, having sort of, as it were, received the experience of that person as a gift in my life, I'm now able to kind of make a positive difference because of that. And I think that for me is part of that process of coming to terms with the loss of a loved one, and then moving on, not forgetting them, but able to kind of move on with hope that actually the kind of impact is still there. Well, it's been lovely. Thank you so much for some wonderful questions. And anytime, I'm always very happy to talk with you guys. So thank you for putting on this event. It's been lovely to be with you. Bye now. Not at all. See you again. Bye now. You're very smooth. I'm very impressed, I have to say. Great job. Thank you. Thank you. Great. Have a good rest of the evening.
Hello? Hello, you all right? Yeah, yeah. Thanks for the invite. Thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, to be honest, I think just to get up every day and I think to be a professional footballer is something I'm, very blessed and grateful for. I think from a young age to set out and say, a footballer is what I want to be and eventually become that. Um, yeah, I think that's important that I stay grateful for that and don't take it for granted because I know obviously, you know, a lot of people have many different situations going on and maybe aren't as fortunate. So yeah, I think for me it's just to wake up every day and know that actually I'm going to work and doing something that I really enjoy. And actually I don't class it as work. So I never really say actually I've got work tomorrow. It's always I've got training or so yeah, I never really see it as work. So I think I'm quite blessed for that. Good. Again, just quite relaxed, and I had training today, so we had recovery. So we had a little bit of fun today, which was nice to switch off and do something different. And then yeah, I've come home and just relaxed, and that's about it, really. How's your day? All right? Yeah, that's good. Um, See, it's funny you ask that because I've had a couple of conversations with quite a few people your age and people that are younger, and they weren't able to go to football training and things like that. But I think what I was again, I always look back and I think actually would I change my time when I was a teenager? And for me, we didn't have like a lot of opportunity in terms of. I think I only trained twice a week with my actual team, so a lot of the stuff you had to do by yourself. So it's quite funny. I think I might have coped all right with lockdown because when I was younger, if I couldn't get somewhere or do something, it was okay. I can't get a lift to my football game, or I can't get a lift to training, or I can't get the bus. So it'd be like, right, I'll jump on my bike. Or if I needed to run more or do a bit more extra training, I would get up at 5:30 in the morning and go running or always find something because I can never sit still. Can never sit still, so I was always looking for something to do. So I think lockdown, I probably would have maybe struggled with staying in the house. That part I probably would have struggled with, but I think, you know, being outdoors and looking for things to do, I might have been all right. Not when we had that 1 hour though. I just loved it. Like, so for me, a bit of insight about me, my upbringing, we lived on a council estate with my mum, who was a single parent. There was 5 of us, and my nana helped bring us up. But for me, it was a release of not having to worry about anything, or, you know, worry about anything I might have seen the night before, you know, things like that. So it was, for me, it was, I could switch off. I didn't have to worry about anything, and I just felt free, I think, you know, when I was playing football. So I think if that was for me, and as well, also the estate we grew up wasn't the best estate, and I probably seen things and seen adults do things, you know, that I just thought, I don't want to be like that, and I don't want to, you know, make the same mistakes, I guess, that they did. And I think that's what kept me driven all the time, was I wanted to be someone, I think, and do well. You know, I was so adamant that I didn't, you know, maybe want to become an alcoholic or drugs, or, you know, I really didn't want to become that person. So I think that's what kept me, you know, so driven. But most of all, it was because I just loved it. I loved playing. Um, no, I don't think anyone per se said, actually, Demi, I don't think, you know, you should do this and maybe think about something. Because I think, you know, when we were growing up, it wasn't professional really, and there wasn't a lot of opportunities. So no one per se said it's not for you. But, you know, I think comments and things like that, people definitely said. Um, and that's fine, because people are going to have opinions. Whether you turn around and say you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, anything, someone will have something to say, or, oh, actually, but I think it's more about them than it is you when they say that. I think it's because they don't see themselves with that potential. But I think, you know, most importantly, I think if you believe in yourself, in your own ability, and, you know, something that I learned growing up very quick was figure out who the good people are. So I had a really good primary school teacher, and he actually got me to my football trials, and, you know, that's how my career started. So I think for me, find out who actually supports you, who the good guys are, and just really keep them close to you, because that'll be the difference, I think, you know, whether you go forward in anything that you do. It's important that you have good people around you. Pardon, can you repeat that? Um, I mean, it's a difficult one, because again, not everyone is like me, and a lot of my friends always say, "Oh, you're very laid back," and things like that, and not everyone is. But I think take everything with a pinch of salt, because it's quite similar to opinions. You're gonna always have them. But I think, like, for me, like social media, I don't really like social media. I'm quite bad on it, but I try and stay off it as much as I can. You know, and if you do, you're always going to get, you know, bad comments and opinions, and so I think take them with a pinch of salt. And it's because the other person is feeling bad about themselves, and not you per se. I think it's a reflection of themselves. So try not to take it too personal, I think. And if it does get too much, if you are on social media and it is through, you know, I think just come off it, or remove yourself and have a break from it, because sometimes it's important to take little breaks from it, because it can become a bad platform depending on how it's used. Ooh, the best thing. There's a lot of things, actually, to be fair. I think one is, I mentioned, I enjoy it. You get up every day and it doesn't feel like a job. I think all of the travel's hard because you miss out on, family things and birthdays and christenings, and you get to a point where no one invites you to things now. But I think the travel, the countries that I've visited and the interactions that I've had with different people, good conversations that you have, I think that's a good part of being a footballer. Because I think when I finish playing football, I will remember the good conversations and the people that I met in my life, and most of them people have become friends, and or who I would call family now. So I'd probably say the people you meet along the way. Sorry, say that one again. I think the older I get, I think I understand and have understood that I am important to some people and I am a role model. Because I think growing up, I just, I used to see myself as I'm just Demi and I like to play football. But I know that I hold, actually quite a big responsibility, and it's important what I do every day and how I speak and, how I interact with people. So yeah, I try not to overthink it, but I am aware more so now, the older that I get, that actually, I have a platform and I can help a lot of people and I can have a voice. And I think I talked about, the Black Lives Matter. I've tried to be a lot better, with that, and just advocate for anyone and everyone actually, and who needs help at a certain time. Because I know when I was growing up, there was maybe a handful of people, who I looked up to. So I think it's important that I pay that forward and, inspire people like you and help who I can help. Because I always say when I finish playing football, I don't want to brag that I was a footballer, but the things that I would brag about is actually I helped X amount of kids, or that's something I would be quite proud of, and said that I've helped a lot of young girls, young boys growing up, and not so much that I was a professional footballer. Quite chilled out. So if we have a home game, I get up about 9, I'll have breakfast, and then I come back to bed. So I just try and rest and relax. If I can't sleep, I will just watch something on Netflix. And I might I'll have a bit of lunch and then relax, might have a nap. And then we have to be in 3 hours before kickoff. So you have a meeting, so you get the team announced, and then you eat again. So there's a lot of eating. But yeah, quite relaxed, I think, and I try not to worry about the game too much, because I think because you've prepared all week, you're more than ready. So yeah, I try and just switch off and, keep my mind and my body relaxed, really. Ooh, it definitely have to be something active, I think. I like boxing. I probably have to say maybe a boxer, because I like the discipline challenge that it requires. And I think when you're in a ring by yourself and you have to make your own decisions and you have to be you have to have controlled aggression, I think that's quite like a strong point. And like, if you can train your mind to be really resilient, so yeah, maybe boxing, I think. Oh, what advice? I think for me, so growing up, so when I was in the England setup as a younger age, I wasn't always the best player. But actually the players that I guess coaches would see as the best players didn't make it or aren't in, the senior team. So I think for me, I think just believe in your ability, find out what you're really good at and become world class at that. But first of all, just work hard, like do everything that you can to be the best. Because I always say no one can take that away from you when you work hard. No one can take it away from you, and they can't say anything. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's probably my advice: is work hard and control things that you can control. So don't worry about everyone else. No, thank you, and I appreciate you guys inviting me. I'm glad that I come on because I think it's important. Yeah, and if you have any more questions, you can ask if you would like, or you ran out. Oh, well, I like to, if when I'm not playing football, because we always have to eat and we have to eat healthy. I actually like cooking a lot. I find it quite relaxing. So I'm always looking at food videos and what can I cook for my next meal, or what new food can I try. So yeah, if I'm not playing football, I'm probably thinking about food, or you know, trying to think of something to make really nice, or looking at a cookbook. So yeah, I'd probably say I like to do that with my time. And just relax. I think I like to go to sauna, steam room, try and switch off a little bit. Um, yeah. Because I like running, we have to run. I'd probably say athletics. Athletics is a good sport. I used to do that at school. Um, Mainly because you got a day out as well, which was cool. But what about you? What do you like to do apart from football? Nice. So do you are you being modest? I think so. I can tell you are. Oh wow. So he is very good then. Yeah, there you go. That's good. So you, there's five of you then, yeah? So what is that? Two brothers, one sister, or oh wow. So your brother's got his work cut out. Yeah, so I'm the middle child. So I have two younger brothers, an older brother and an older sister. And we're all very different. Very different. No problem at all. And thank you. See you later. Bye. Bye. Thank you.
Hi guys, thanks for having me. How are you? I'm not that tall. Hey, how are you? You good? I'm not that tall. I'm 5'11", so I'm not as tall as her dad. Oh. She's taller than me probably. You can time me if you want, or I can time. No worries. Either way, I'm happy. I'm happy to go either way. Yeah, you can time me for me, and so do they know all the rules and everything? How we're going to do this? Hello. No, you okay? You okay? So I'm Lovejoy Chawatam. I'm currently professional rugby player for London Irish. I'm currently injured at the moment, which is not nice, but it's part of the game. Hoping to be back soon again playing. Yeah, I've got two kids. They're all young. A toddler and a six week old baby. I don't know. Maybe it's because of the mum, not me. Yep. Well, if we get stuck, don't worry. We can always go to the next question. Yeah, I'm ready to go. How old are you? If you could ditch any subject you're studying, what would you ditch? What's your favorite color? What's your favorite color? What's 17 plus 17? How many vowels are in your first and last name? If you could have any superpower, what would it be? Name 5 things you can eat beginning with S. What gives you hope? What gives you hope? Which do you prefer, chicken noodles or chicken curry? If animals could talk, which one would be the most annoying? If you had to give up either cheese or chocolate for a year, which one would it be? What's the best thing about the internet? How many chickens are needed to balance the weight of one adult elephant? What do you wish you had more? What's the worst name you could give a pet dog? What's the best movie you've ever seen? Where would you like to be living in 10 years' time? If someone wanted to be your apprentice, what would you teach them? Well done. Okay. Are you timing? Are you timing? She's got 30 seconds. How many were in the pack? Yes. So you want me to do the timing? Yes. Hi, Josh.
Hey.
Am I timing? Am I still timing or? Oh, okay. How old are you?
13.
If you could ditch any subject you're studying, what would you ditch?
Art.
What's your favorite color?
Purple.
What's 17 plus 17?
34.
How many vowels are in your first and last name? Sorry. How many vowels are in your first and last name?
3.
If you could have a superpower,
Four.
what would it be? Oh, sorry.
4.
If you could,
Yeah.
if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Invisibility.
Name 5 things you can eat beginning with an S.
Can't think.
What gives you hope?
Um, I can't think right now.
Which do you prefer, chicken noodles or chicken curry?
Chicken curry.
If animals could talk, which one would be the most annoying?
Not sure.
If you had to give up either cheese or chocolate for a year, which one would it be?
Cheese.
What's the best thing about the internet?
YouTube.
How many chickens are needed to balance the weight of one adult elephant?
2000.
What do you wish you had more?
Not sure.
Okay.
Yes, I do. I'll open the packet.
Perfect. No worries.
Hi.
Does she understand
Wait,
the
wait,
rules?
wait. I need to film this. I need to get ready.
Does she understand the rules? Do you understand the rules?
Sorry, what's the rules?
So if you get stuck, you can just pass and go to the next question. So you have 90 seconds to answer every question, but you don't have to. If you don't know the answer, you can just go to the next one.
Okay, do I like not eat the sweets or something, or do I do it after?
Afterwards.
Okay,
You
okay.
have 30 seconds for that. What's the worst name you could give to a pet dog?
Paper.
What's the best What's the best movie you've ever seen?
Frozen.
Where would you like to be living in 10 years' time?
America.
If someone wanted to be your apprentice, what would you teach them?
I don't know.
What's your,
I don't know. Pass.
what's your favorite crisp flavor?
I didn't hear that.
What's your favorite crisp flavor?
Oh, salt and vinegar.
If you could go back in time, where and when would you go back to?
To Jesus's era.
Hum your favorite song. Tell us a joke.
Why was Jesus banned from the jewelry store? Because he broke all the chains.
Oh my God. Who's the messiest person you know?
My brother.
What's the dumbest way you've injured yourself?
I fell off my bike.
If you're to cook me dinner, what would you cook?
Chili con carne.
Wow, good choice. What's the craziest thing one of your teachers has done?
One of my what?
One of your teachers has done. What's your craziest thing one of your teachers has done?
I don't know. Pass.
Would you rather be able to talk to animals or have £1 million?
Talk to animals.
What's your least favorite chocolate?
White chocolate.
Would you rather live by a forest or by a beach, and why?
Forest, because of the animals.
Well done.
Okay. Is it one? Can I just shove them in my mouth, or do I have to do one by one? Oh, that's disgusting.
They're not from me.
Honestly, I hate spicy food. Bye.
Hello.
Hey.
Do you know the rules?
Yeah, I've pretty much heard it from everyone else, yeah.
Perfect. Okay. All right, number 15. Okay. You ready?
Yeah, ready.
What's the worst name you could give to a pet dog?
Crunchy.
What's the best movie you've ever seen?
Shrek 2.
Where would you like to be living in 10 years' time?
California.
If someone wanted to be your apprentice, what would you teach them?
How to be confident?
What's your favorite crisp flavor?
Prawn cocktail.
If you could go back in time, where and when would you go back to?
The 90s, late 90s.
Hum your favorite song.
um,
Tell us a joke.
Why did the chicken cross the road to get to the other side? I couldn't think of anything.
Who's the messiest person you know?
Myself.
What's the dumbest way you've injured yourself?
I got hit by a bike.
If you're to cook me dinner, what would you cook?
Lasagna.
What's the craziest thing one of your teachers has done?
A teacher threw a chair at a student once.
Oh wow. Would you rather be able to talk to animals or have £1 million?
£1 million.
What's your least favorite chocolate?
Dark chocolate.
Would you rather live by a forest or by the beach, and why?
The beach, because I find it more beautiful and I like the ocean.
How old are you?
15.
If you could ditch any subject you're studying, what would you ditch?
Chemistry.
What's your favorite color?
Pink.
What's 17 plus 17?
34.
How many? Oh, that's it. Well done.
Oh, wait. Do I have to eat these still? Okay.
Yeah, in 30 seconds.
I'm eating them right now. Oh, that's so grim. Sorry. Oh, that's disgusting. I have 3 left. All right, they're on. They're on. All gone.
Well done. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. Cheers. Bye-bye. Take care. Cheers. Bye-bye.